What up, gamers? Is Will 777 JP, and I am back at it with another one. And y'all, it's trick or treating in my neighborhood. I mean, it's kind of dead right now. I just handed out the rest of my candy. But while I'm sitting here chilling, I wanted to make a quick little video on basically the games that I thought were scary, and games that I recommend to you guys. Now, what my criteria for picking some of these games are, if it's like a mind bender or something as simple as a jump scare, like something that just popped out at me and scared the crap out of me. So, I have a folder. How you doing? This is the last of my candy. There you go. Have a good night. Just handed out the last bit of candy that I had. I'm just leaving back in the way so the kids don't be like, what the hell, man? You ain't got no damn candy. But yeah, guys, so I just wanted to go through this real quick. I was planning on making this video a little bit when I first started, but things picked up, and now that I'm down to no candy, I'll go over the rest. So I'm on my PlayStation Portal. I created a folder. I have 22 games in here. There'll be some that I will highly recommend, some that they're decent, right? If you can play them for a cheap price, I recommend them. But the first one that I actually wanted to go over is Alan Wake 2. Now, this game is kind of controversial for me specifically because the game, like, it wasn't one of my favorite games, but it definitely was a mind bender, right? The story, the lore, Alan Wake, what he is, what he does, will definitely have you thinking about things. And there is more than one jump scare in this game. I caught myself jumping a few times in this game, and if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, I wouldn't say that this game has a ridiculous amount of it, but it does. The psychological stuff is what really drives home with this game, and just a creepy vibe. It's very, very creepy. It's a very dark game, literally and figuratively. The next one is a PSVR 2 game, PSVR 1 game as well. The remake just came out last week for the PS2, for the PS5. Now this, I put it in here because it's got jump scares, it's got zombies. It's not necessarily a creepy game or a scary game, but it's a shooter, action adventure kind of game. Bramble. Now this one I highly definitely recommend. It is like Eastern European folklore. They did such a great job with the art style, and it does have some very creepy things in there, and very creepy, what's the word, just like creepy things that happen during the game and the story. Next one, Dead Island 2. This one is selected because of the jump scares. I mean, I've jumped a lot more in this game than maybe other games. Dead Space, I mean, what can I say about that? Creepy factor to the, well, not creepy factor, but jump scare factor to the freaking limit with this one, guys. I mean, there's one level where you're walking through the hallway and this tentacle thing comes at you out of nowhere. Oh man, that really got my ass. Dying Light 2. This one, not necessarily. I don't know why I put it in there. Indica. Now this is a psychological kind of horror game that really uses religion. Super interesting game, man. It's an indie game. I do recommend it at a discount. I bought it, I think day one it was $30, just because I thought that it was super interesting. And it's, I don't want to say it's rare, but it's rare that they come out with like a scary or horror game or psychological thriller game that includes religion that is actually good. And I think that this one is one of the better ones. Also, there is a lot of different gameplay mechanics in this game. I mean, not all throughout the game, but there's different sections that just do something completely different. Like, for example, you'll be playing the game, it's more realistic graphics, but then all of a sudden you're doing like 16-bit section, like it's a very unique game. Little Nightmares is another classic. It's very creepy. It's a creepy game. I don't want to say it's scary, but it's creepy. The environment is very, very creepy. Same thing goes with Little Nightmares 2. Little Nightmares 2 definitely improved what Little Nightmares 1 did. It's kind of a prequel to Little Nightmares 1, but man, I definitely recommend these. I think you can get a combo pack for relatively cheap. I highly recommend that. Physical, of course. Metro Exodus, or Metro Exodus, and Metro Last Light. Now, these three games, the reason I picked them is because of a few jump scares that you get in them, and also you're in the tunnels, you're trying to go from place to place, and it can definitely be creepy if you're kind of claustrophobic, right? Because you can't just get up and run. Resident Evil 2. Don't need no explaining. I think it's is it Resident Evil 2? Resident Evil. Yeah, I think it's Resident Evil 2. Well, Resident Evil 2, you know, the way the game starts off, you can play between both characters. You beat the game as I forget his name, as the male, and then you can redo the game again as the female, and you get to see her side of the story. Now, you guys meet up during certain points, and then when you guys break off, you're like, oh, I wonder what they're gonna do. Well, you get to experience that. But very creepy, very a lot of jump scares in this one. Resident Evil 4. Now this one is, I mean, just creepy, right? It deals with like cultism. It deals with just the, you know, not only the cultism part, but the whole what do you call that, virus, you know, and how that could control people. And I mean, we saw a little bit of that in our world, right, in our real world, 2020. But that's the part of it that I really like. And of course the gameplay is awesome. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is just such a good game. Also, you can play it on PSVR 2, which is awesome. You don't have to pay anything extra for that. Resident Evil Biohazard, which is basically Resident Evil 7. That game is awesome. When you talk about creepy and sneaking around and trying to figure out the mystery of the family, I mean, and how they got in, you know, how they got into the position they were in, it's just a phenomenal freaking game. My very first game ever, Resident Evil game that I've ever played, is Resident Evil Village, and because of Resident Evil Village is the reason that I went and played all the Resident Evil games. So when I played Resident Evil Village, I wanted to know more, so then I figured, you know, or I learned that Resident Evil Biohazard is basically the prequel to Village. But Village is another one that's got free PSVR 2, and also they are going to come out with physical copies of Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil Biohazard, Resident Evil Village, and Resident Evil 2 and 3. So they're going to be doing physical PS5 copies for those. But Resident Evil Village, I think, has the most jump scares out of all the Resident Evil games that well, at least for current gen. I'm trying to think back to, I've never played Resident Evil 6 or 7. I'm sorry, Resident Evil 6. I did play Resident Evil 5 with Nelson Gaming Culture. But Resident Evil Village, man, I mean, just like the first 30 minutes to an hour of this game is phenomenal. I really enjoy it. Scars. Now, this game is not necessarily scary, but you are like an explorer and you go visit a different planet. I think this game is extremely underrated. Extremely underrated. Not because it's scary. It's not really scary at all. I put it in there because there are some creepy things, especially when you're visiting a new planet and you're like, you know, you're the alien in that planet. I just think it has some cool concept. It is an indie game. It is kind of low budget, but I'm only one trophy away from getting the platinum in this game, and I definitely want to go back and get it. But this game is phenomenal. Phenomenal game. Well, Silent Hill. I mean, I just made a review of this game. Literally made a review a few days ago. Go check it out. It is a review as a first-time Silent Hill gamer ever. This was my very first game ever of Silent Hill IP. Never played the PS2 ones, the PS3s, nothing. And I mean, when you talk about this game and scariness or horror, this fits all the checkbox, from psychological horror to physical, you know, horror to it's just a tremendous freaking game, man. Highly recommend that. Callisto Protocol. Now, I know Callisto Protocol got some hate when it first came out because people wanted it to be more like Dead Space because it came from the creator of Dead Space. But man, did I love that thing. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy too much the dodging. You had to use the right thumbstick, right or left, to dodge right or left. But I think the story was cool. I mean, the boss fight kind of sucked at the end, but the gameplay was pretty awesome. I bought the DLC. I played the DLC. It's a really good game, and I recommend it, man. It's on PS Plus, I believe. So check it out. Same thing with what's the game? Dead Space is also on PS Plus. It's one of the free games of the month of October. Switchback VR. So this game is incredibly scary. This is scary. I couldn't even finish the damn game. Basically, you're in a roller coaster and you go through different sections and you got to shoot monsters. Just the jump scares in this game is ridiculous. And you combine that with VR, it is insane. The Evil Within. So The Evil Within, I have not completed this game. I have played the game. It is extremely scary game. It is very creepy. I mean, the art style they decide to use, it's just, man, it is a classic. This is coming from the same guy who made Hi-Fi Rush, believe it or not, right? So it's just so crazy how the two games contrast to each other and how talented that developer is. And then the last one that I have in my scary list is Walking Dead Saints and Sinner. And once again, I put it in there because of the jump scares. But it's a very good, high quality PSVR 2 game that I definitely recommend. So there you go, guys. This is my scary list of 2024. Once again, I apologize for the introduction of this game or of this video, but you know, I'm just chilling here, enjoying Halloween with the neighborhood and just kind of, you know, playing on my PlayStation Portal and just a little bored. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I already have a scary list. Why don't I make a video? So why not? So here are some of my top picks, 22 of them to be exactly, of games I recommend for you to play, not just during Halloween, but any day of the year. Thank y'all so much for watching this. Hit that like, that subscribe, please, guys. I'm trying to reach 100, man. We're so close. I was at 86 before I made the video. I hope we can get to 100 before November ends. Oh man, that would be awesome. And if we do hit 100, stay tuned, because I think I want to do a giveaway. I want to do a $20 PlayStation gift card, or for the PlayStation Store, and that will come. I will bring out more details for that soon. Otherwise, please hit the subscribe. Let's get to 100 so we can get to that giveaway, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Keep it gaming.